go to Locked.
Hey, welcome back everyone. This is Locke here with MTFing More. Wow, my picture's really big. Let's shrink myself there real quick. Alright. There we go. So I was asked to do an account review here for Shipwrecked, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Give him some feedback. I'm just got to find John my list here. Alright, with Taylor. Alright, so Taylor needs more crit rate than that. I mean, you can even give up a little bit of speed. I mean, really, you're looking for 90 speed on Violent, probably 75 crit rate minimum. You could give up a little crit damage maybe mid-game to get a higher crit rate if you had to. If you're going to put Taylor on Swift, you've got to be a lot faster than that. Squall, though, is just not going to be effective if you're not hitting 75% crit rate. And if you look at some of my past Guild War videos, when my Taylor was on like 65% crit rate, there's so many times I was screaming at it for not critting. So at some point in the game, Swift isn't horrible, but you really need 180 speed, 75 crit rate on Violent, preferably probably Violent Will, to have a good Taylor, especially when you use it on defense as well. I won't spend too much time on Sig here. I truly do believe, Mitch, stop texting me. I truly do believe that Violent Sig is much better. I mean, I think I have better stats on my Violent Sig than a Rage one. A Rage one isn't bad depending on what you're using it for. If you're using it totally PvP, you can get away with a Rage Sig, but you need that crit damage. You need it 75%, 80% crit rate with 200% crit damage to really take advantage of Sig. So, you know, it's not a bad Sig by any means, but if you're trying to use Sig for DB10, you really need Sig to be Violent. You're definitely going to see an increase in not only winnability, but how fast it's going to be when you have Sig on Violent, especially since it looks like your Sig, maybe not quite, it's not max skilled, your Taylor was. Being max skilled, that would really help it as well. Tyron, I don't have a problem at all with your Tyron in terms of the rune sets. Quite frankly, I recommend keeping runes at 12 if you're going to use them on anybody you're actually using in the game. Make sure the runes are at plus 12. That extra proc of something on a rune is really worthwhile. So I would recommend, if you use Tyron, spend a little bit of mana. Unless you're JJ and it's like 500k mana to go from 9 to 12. Otherwise, utilize, get that up to 12. Really, you probably could do a little better on speed here. Wow, I mean, you guys only got to see my face on that. You could probably do a little better on speed. I think about 160 is a little slow. You probably hope to get closer to 180. If you're mid-game, 160 isn't bad, but 160 isn't going to beat a lot of people who are constantly G2, G3. So Theo needs to be Violent. Theo needs your best violence that you can possibly get. Probably speed, crit damage, attack. Vio Blade is fine, but you would probably be better off putting these runes on your Sig and throwing on your best violent runes. If you can get 65% crit rate, 160 speed, and somewhere around 150 crit damage, you're definitely going to see an increase in Theo. He's just a bitch when it comes to defense. Not having him on Vio is really a waste of him. If you could do Vio Revenge, that's definitely going to make him even more better. And I mean, you've got, that's an HP rune, but you've got at least a speed Revenge rune there in Tyron that might be worthwhile. I'm just going to skip Arnold because I don't see any use for Arnold in this game at all. No matter how many times Mitch tries to use Arnold and tell me how awesome Arnold is for her, it's just not true. Especially on defense. Especially on defense, Arnold is just. What was the quote we had the other day that slow beast monk is just a punching bag? Arnold is just completely a punching bag. That's all he really is these days. All right, so Ha, not horrible here. If this Ha were on violent, I would probably tell you need a little bit more crit rate. If you get it to 70, you'd be in really good shape. So again, I think this just comes down to still being mid-game. Swift is an okay set, but you're going to have your struggles here and there. And Ha is just going to be another one of them in that sense. I know that you can do Giants 10. So I would focus on Dragons 8 until you can get to Dragons 10. And just try and get some of those violent runes, because I can see it looks like you're really struggling with having violent runes accessible and being able to properly get some of these mons that really need Vio to be Vio. And in Revenge to a smaller sense. Again, Tessarian, another mon that really excels in Violent over Swift. A little slow on Swift. If you're thinking 25 of that speed is because of Swift, you're only really adding 40 speed with subs and with a rune. That's really not a lot. So, Tessarian, I think, is another one. I mean, it looks like crit D runes are hard to come by for you, and then that's possible, and that's really where farming nonstop comes in. So I would highly recommend to, it looks like you have, I mean, I really have been looking, but it looks like you have some solid Swift runes here. They just, saw a super solid rune for like a Bernard or a Megan. Again, really good. Okay. 7 speed on that one, 6 on that one, so not great. So I had Belduel, and quite honestly, Belduel is not going to excel with a crit damage rune. You really need Belduel to have speed, probably speed, defense, HP. That's how I runed my Ella, and it works great. My Ella has like 215 speed Vio Will, I believe, right now. Belladjewel, the moment you get Vio Will, speed, defense, HP, or HP defense, you are going to see a vast improvement, especially on defense. It's going to drive people crazy, especially when you're mid-game-ish. They're not expecting to see those will runes. So, Necro, not the easiest. I really, unfortunately, don't see a whole lot of Necro mons here for you so far. But a lot of them are farmable. Necros is very farmable. I mean, Colleen is farmable. Work on a Colleen. Both Roke and Bella are farmable. You've got a Bella. You have a Haw. So you could very easily do a slow bio Haw, attack, crit damage, attack, crit rate. Attack, 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 attack. Just a slow Haw with 20 or so speed. And then just find any other mon who hits more than once the skill. Roke works in there, especially at like an 8. You could probably use Roke if you don't have great runes for Roke, and really excel in getting some of those will runes. Again, you're not going to have great 6-star endgame runes, but it'll at least help you evolve your team in that way. Also give you some nemesis runes, which you can sprinkle into some of these other mons to help you out, when you find them. And then just those better rage runes that you may have a couple of people that need. I don't find myself using rage runes much outside of like a Lucian or back, or I guess really not a whole lot. Teshar I use them on, but not a whole lot. Granted, I have 3 Lucians, so I do have a lot of rage runes laying out there. Raki I use them for, but just not a whole lot of rage runes do I use anymore. So this Orochi looks like he's just kind of thrown together. I do appreciate the 100% crit rate, so that's building him properly. Accuracy, you probably have an accuracy rune on him. I'm not going to tell you to take accuracy off of him because that really might not be true for your sake and where you're at in the game. I don't use accuracy on mine. I feel that once you get to 60% accuracy in subs, 70-ish, somewhere in there, you're really not gaining a whole lot by adding accuracy. So I don't really put a whole lot of accuracy out there in that sense. If this is what's helping you do, Giants, I would really push you to try and get Swift runes to make this a Swift Blade. Orochi, that's what I have, attack crit D, or attack crit rate attack. Get the speed, mine speed's about 150, I believe, with no speed rune, which isn't fast by any means, but it does work out really well for me in Giants, and then that's the only place I use them is in Giants, because 150 is not fast enough for any PvP. So your Lucian's crit rate is a little bit low. Again, you're only going to get that, and these runes are very solid. It's just, unfortunately, crit rate hasn't popped on some of them where you really probably wish that it would have a few more times. I'd recommend getting that up one notch, but I mean, the Lucian looks solid. It looks like it's going to help you in Giants for sure. Probably some other places in an arena throughout the game. Chisun is a little slow. Where you're at in the game, this violent speedrun is probably better off. Probably going to either making Theo Vio, or Haw Vio, or Veljul Vio. These 2 runes right here could probably come over to Veljul and make that much better. Early game, or not early game, even mid game Chasun, I think you're better with all HP and getting the speed where you can on the subs, because only when you hit late game are people having Chasuns at 190 speed with 28k, 35k HP. So I don't think that she is legitimately helping you out in that way, having her that. Now, again, I don't want you to, if this is your only HP 4 rune, I don't want you just to go ahead and take it off. Maybe you could flip-flop some runes here. Maybe you have a 4 energy rune there, and you switch it, because Chasun's got to be Vio. So that much is for sure, but I would really think that this speed rune here is not not helping her as much. I mean, because you could, if you switch those runes, you'd be able to throw this one, um, yeah, this one over to Chaesoon to keep her. You know, if as long as you've got an HP or another violent rune to put um, in one of these two spots, you'd be all right to throw an energy or even a broken set. You don't gotta have full sets. Broken sets work great in this game. It's amazing how great broken sets do work. Bella's a little slow. Um, I do like your defense on Bella. There's not a problem with that. You know, you could flip these runes around maybe if you needed to put something on Bella Jewel. Um, but Bella is slow. Bella really needs to be like 160 to one, probably in where you're at, and closer to 200. The accuracy is fine. You don't need to add any more accuracy. Kind of low on HP though. Like you really need to get. I know that's. I'm gonna say you need to get closer to 20k, and that's kind of close to 20k, but it's not where it needs to be. Um, I mean, even with a defensive percent rune, you should be able to get to 22, 23k HP while having about 1200 defense or so. So Jara, huh? F you for having a L&D Nat 5 that I don't have any of. But the thing is I already knew you had that, so. I have no experience with this mon. Probably never will. I mean, Violet is probably the right choice. Right choice, right? For probably all outside of Teshar. Um, I wonder the damage you might be able to do with a proper Rage Blade set. But again, your crit rate is really what looks like you need to work on your subs on your runes, because crit rate 70 is really your minimum, and you're hitting 50, mid 50s on a lot. So that's really what I'd focus on, is finding runes where you can do that. You know, unfortunately, your Vero's slow. Really know that defense is really going to help Vero much, so you know, HP is probably your best on those two. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Speed, probably Nemesis. That's where you'd want to get those Nemesis runes. I think Bio Nemesis is still the best choice for Vero for sure. I'll go through some of your other mons real quick, and if you don't use them, I would really try and take the runes off of them and put them where you do need them and where they will work and where you will utilize them. You know, here's a good. You know, you got some good runes on your Orion. If you don't use Orion, you know, then don't have decent runes on them. Beretta, you definitely want. I think your accuracy is too high. I don't think Beretta needs 100% accuracy. I think 60, 70 is perfect, but I think that yours is too high. But other than that, you know, it looks like solid rune choices. Nothing wrong there. Slower Chloe. Again, if you don't use Chloe a whole lot, possibly think about moving some of those runes. You know, there's an attack rune, good for Sag. Just kind of trying to scroll through here real quick. You know, Brained is one that works better with speed. We both have a B ring. I've not used mine much. B ring is not going to need Fatal isn't going to be necessary. I actually want to make mine swift and super fast to be able to put the third skill out there for both these two skills, just to be able to stop them from doing anything. Jewelton not being on Bile really makes it tough to use, so I bet you probably don't use Jewelton much, and that's probably why, again, you gotta farm those violent runes. It really looks where you're at this point. Again, another good speed rune if you don't use Amadat, then I would say get that rune off there and put it where you are going to use it, like with Velijewel. It looks like you are close to the point where once you get some more violent runes, you'll be good for R3. Run R3 a lot. Get your runes updated, move on, and then push on Necro. I really think Raid, being able to do R3 consistently and fastly, move on to Necro. Unless you desperately need to work on your Guild War D. I do like Malacca. Solid there. Not really sure why you have a second Beretta. I don't know if any of these runes maybe fit better in another Beretta to make it faster. Not really sure why you have so many runes on Mons that does the duplicates of that you're not going to build. Spectra doesn't need HP. Spectra needs Crit Rate or Crit D down there. And 100% accuracy. If you're going to use Spectra, I don't use Spectra anymore. But it does help for your first speed Dragons team. Okay, and you've got Colleen. Colleen needs speed. Colleen's got to be speed up here, so this is a good rune. Maybe you throw up your Chaesoon that we were talking about earlier. Put a speed rune here. We saw lots of good speed vial runes. Maybe they can go there. I'm much more in tune with a copper that is vampire, so I'm gonna skip by him there. No, it doesn't look like you use Aquila. You'll need speed. Here you definitely want Rage Blade. So you've got some good Rage Blade out there. This might be an opportunity to use them. Look at DMOBs. His is really good. This Will Rune is solid, but I wouldn't waste it on a Forest or Delphoid you're clearly not using. Don't throw these good runes down here. Go ahead and put these. We're actually going to use them. This rune is possibly great for Velijewel. A Will Chaesoon isn't a bad thing. So yeah, I would clearly recommend going out to Reddit and finding the rune removal proxy tool and utilizing that to pull your runes through your Wi-Fi and your computer, and utilize that to see what runes you have and run some comparisons. See what the best rune sets are for your Mons. If you need some, we talked about a lot of different ones here. Was that an MIC? Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're trying to work on too much at once too. I've done that before, but work on what you have. Get your Dragons team working consistently good. Get those runes, and then move forward onto Raid and Necro. And then when you do have time, come back to trying to do TOA hard. I mean, you're definitely not needing to worry about run TOA hard as far as you can auto, and then don't worry about it anymore. I did that for almost a year before I actually tried on TOA hard for no other reason than it's super time consuming and not really worth the time. So that's kind of my overview here for Shipwrecked. Questions, write in the video, subscribe please, and everyone MTFing War, hit us up online if you've got questions, comments, or because you want to join. Thanks.